What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. So before I get into this, I want to thank everyone who has been coming along for this ride. I've kind of I've kind of noticed that, well, not kind of noticed, I obviously noticed that this is pretty much like the 100th market watch that I've done. Essentially, when I number the thumbnails, to the market watches, I basically kind of put them at, I've done, started from one. And this one is the 100th one that I've done. Like, maybe I've done a few more, but like to be honest, we're just gonna go ahead and count this as market watch number 100 on this channel. So I just want to say, even though we haven't hit the 500 subscriber mark, the current goal right now, I'm just currently very much thankful for the people who have subscribed, people who are here for the information, trying to always do my best to kind of bring everything. I know I'm not always kind of just bringing everything that's new, but at the same time I do sometimes kind of bring my own little spin onto this. And like I said, I do want to bring some more different types of videos that come along the way, but at the same time want to make sure I do stuff that works. So with all out of the way, if you like what we do, please feel free to like, subscribe. If not, it is all cool. We do this all the time. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Hopefully, if you want to, come along, please, subscribe down below. One of the things I am gonna probably in one of these videos that I'm making, I do want to announce one of the big things that I want to do. Want to hit 500 subscribers, so go ahead and be on the lookout for that. So like I said, let's go ahead and get into it. The first card that I want to talk about is Marionette Mite. To be honest, this, when I first saw this, I was like, yeah, this, this is not one of those little cheesy tech cards. But the more that I'm looking at it, it is actually really, really good, because one of the ways that Unchained play around a lot of interruption is that they will always, more than likely, will have escape set in the back row. And with escape set, even whether you completely negate the monster effects, or you try to destroy the back row of the monsters, as long as your opponent could respond to the card that you're activating, they could essentially just use escape to destroy one of their monsters and destroy either another one of their cards, or destroy your card, the one that you're using. And they always kind of have a way to kind of play around it, to where especially with the dog, they always kind of have that play around. But I like Marionette Mite because as long as you have no cards in the field, you just discard this to the graveyard, and you essentially are able to take something away, and they pretty much have no response, because they're pretty much not they're not gonna be able to use the deities to negate it, and they can't use a dog to link out, because there's no monster that you control. So it's actually really really good. It's actually something that I noticed that is actually really good for the matchup. I might kind of look for these to kind of put these in when I go to the regional. So if you have these, kind of be on the lookout. They're not really that much. They're only going for about $1.49. This common version is going for $1. But to be honest, this is one of those techs that's I guess this is more of a be on the lookout for this, then oh, it's kind of going up. Just if you're having a hard time with Unchained, this might kind of help you out. Ultimate Slayer is another card that I really thought would be a better option for Unchained, but the more I look at it, it's it just says you can't activate monster effects in response to this card. So, but even though that's the case, the card has been going up. It was pretty low pretty recently in the $12 mark, but now it's kind of starting to shoot up, and you're looking at near mint first editions for 23, pretty much in the $24 price point for a first ed. Then so same thing for the unlimiteds right here. So you're pretty much paying $23 to $24 for Ultimate Slayer. To be honest, with an extremely diverse meta, and the fact that you could run a lot of tech cards that allow you to run a diverse extra deck, Ultimate Slayer is starting to become just a little bit more of a better option, especially with the fact that you can't activate monster effects in response to activation. It'll really help you get around any kind of any kind of effect that you don't want your opponent to chain out of. Although in Unchained, like I said, if they have the escape set, they can still they can still essentially get around they can still get around this card, because you do need a target. So if they know you're going for the Unchained monster, they're just going to use the the Unchained escape to get rid of it. But even though in that exact scenario, it does do very well against the DDD, it also does extremely well against other matchups like Dragon Link, or maybe even Branded, especially with the Chimera. Just activate this, bam, send the Chimera, so that way you don't have to deal with it anymore. There's very much like a lot. There's like a lot of good stuff going on with Ultimate Slayer. So I would go and like keep a lookout. If you have these and holding on to them, it's kind of the, I guess, would be the time you kind of want to sell them. I don't know if they're gonna kind of soar, but at the same time, if you were holding out, maybe thinking they're gonna go lower, no, they're starting to kind of creep up. So if you're in between, I would just go ahead and try to find your set, maybe for like 20 bucks a piece. Like if you really feel confident in this. This is a card that I do want to give a shot, so I'm kind of like here or there about it. So we'll see how I feel. Triple Tactics Thrust. Triple Tactics Thrust right now is a card that I told everyone at this price point, 63, pick them up. If you're feeling like you're going to play in the next meta, I said pick them up at that price point. Why? It was very low. It was very good. And unless Konami wanted to be freaking, the best person in the world and just straight up say, we're going to give all our players everything we want and boom, here's Thrust. No. This was going to go up, and it completely has gone up. We're looking at 80, we're looking at 83, 84, $85. To be honest, we're looking at $85 for the Secret Rare Triple Tactics Thrust. And if you, like I said, if you were thinking about playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! And you didn't at least have one copy of this card, I have no idea what you were doing, but you should have got it at $60. Even the Ultimate Rare has gone back up to that like $100 and like, $20 kind of price point. We're looking right here, 118, 119, 118 with a $1 shipping. So we're looking at like $118, $119 for this card. It has gone back up to that $120 price point. If you missed your shot, to be honest, I'm sorry, but like there's certain there's certain things, like there's certain cards in this game that you kind of just know that, okay, like a card like Triple Tactics Thrust, to where it's probably not going to get its reprint either until it's either going to get a reprint in the 25th anniversary set, the one that's coming out in about a month or two, or it's going to get a reprint in the March set, or in the next Megatins from next year. This is one of those cards where it's not just going to get put in some random product. So if you missed your shot, I'm sorry, but this card is going up. It is very good right now in this format. Punishes a lot of hand traps. Cashier Fenrir is another card where I said that, like, if you're feeling confident in it, go ahead and pick it up right now, especially if you just want a one copy, because it was at a price where if you're just going to get the one copy, it was good. But now the ban list has come out. I'm probably going to release a video talking about that ban list. It's a little hit or miss. Like, I like that it wasn't that big, but at the same time, it missed some of the more key cards. So, well, like I said, I won't do that for the other video. But right now, we're looking at Prismatic Rare Castiras, like Cashier Fenrir for about $13.24. Like, though the Ultra Rares are still looking pretty good. To be honest, I probably would. I'd rather get, like, I'd just rather get the Prismatics. The Prismatics look really good. But these Ultras right here, you get Near Mint for $18, like $18 for the Ultra Rares, which, to be honest, is really not that bad. Freaking did that thing to me. It isn't really that bad, to be honest. And right here, the Secret Rares, these are the ones here that they dipped down about $9. They were a little lower than this, and I said to pick them up now if you felt confident in them. And then, like I said, the balance dropped, and now we're looking at $14.75, pretty much like $15 for this card. This went from pretty much like a $25 to like $30 set to a $45 set. But at the same time, Cashier Fenrir is extremely good. I see it continuing to be in not only in like, well, I'm not saying a standalone deck. Probably Cashier is not going to be its own deck anymore, but I do see this splash into a lot of different shows. Vanquish Soul very much needs cards like Cashier Fenrir if there's going to be no Maxi in the meta. So I said this was kind of like one that, like, the balance came out pretty soon, but at the same time, this is a thing right here. Cashier Fenrirs, if you need them, get them now before they start to climb again. Alright, so Sleipnir the Runic Mane. Yeah, I've never pronounced this card's name, and I'm probably hopefully never have to again. But to be honest, this card right now is pretty low. I'm gonna go into some Runic stuff right now, but to be honest, Runic is not really the worst choice if you're trying to play like a rogue, kind of like like a rogue sleeper choice strategy. Maybe like Runic Sprite for hire isn't as strong as it once was, but I do feel like just playing Runic as like a stun deck, or Runic as like a hardcore stun deck is, it could potentially be an option. I do see this as a very interesting, like a very interesting card that hasn't been explored too much, just because like Runic in the TCG is seen more as like a combo deck, to where Runic in the OCG is seen more as a stun deck. Me personally, I played it more as like a stun kind of rogue you know, like kind of strategy. So a part of me wants to kind of bring this back, but I'm looking at this card. We're looking at Near Mint First Dead, $4.95, $4.99, pretty much like $5. This card's kind of going for $5. If you're thinking about running Runic, I would just go ahead and pick this up real quick. You probably only need like 1, maybe 2 copies, but this is one of those cards to where it's like if Runic does kind of make some kind of small splash, and if they do run 1 or 2 copies, this will shoot up really quick. Another thing I wanted to talk about right here, Runic, it's like Runic is not really that expensive right now. If you want to run a decent deck that's like, you know, like as I said, if you want to run it like top tier status, then you got to put a little money for it, you know, to like, you know, run the sprites. If you just want to run it maybe like tier 1.5, just get the for higher engine. But if you just want to get like a nice good engine that I think will be very solid for the next couple months, I think Runic is the option. There is probably going to be a balance in the next like month or two, but to be honest, I'm looking at the price of Runic. You like look at this, like we're looking at like the ultras at 198. Prismatics are 93. Prismatics are $1. Like to be honest, this deck right now, we're probably looking at spending $25 or less on the core, and I would just go ahead and just make the call. Another thing that I want to bring up is Runic Dispelling is something that I said that like it's probably not going to get reprinted hollow in the tins, and I was right about that. It did only get, I think it has like it has the rare as a common, then it has this printing. Right now we're looking at like Near Mint Unlimited for about $2 with $1 shipping. We're looking at about $2.50 is kind of more of like the median price for this card. To be honest, if Runic makes a splash, I wouldn't even bat an eye if this card goes to like $5. Someone ripped this freaking at my locals, and I was like, why are people ripping cards instead of just giving them to me? I will give them a home in this box where I keep them, and then wait till they potentially go up in price. But either way, if you're not gonna, if you're gonna rip your cards, but the guy didn't like Runic, so he did his thing. But to be honest, Runic Dispelling was a card that like I kind of did call to kind of go up. So if you had these and you kind of were holding on to them, or maybe you just pulled a bunch of these instead of getting the ulti you wanted, now they're like $2.50. So like a set, like play sets go for pretty good money. I would just go and pull them out and try to get some trade value for these cards. There can be only one. It's not really that expensive right now, to be honest. You got the commons, the rares, for like 8-10 cents. Then you got the super rares for like 35 cents. The ultra rares are actually what I'm looking at. Because if you can find a really good near mint copy, that'd be kind of hard, because a lot of stuff didn't come the best in, dude. But at the same time, Life Blade First Dead 102, 110. This card destroys a lot of decks. Even something like that's known for really being able to sit on one monster, like Infernoble Knight. Go like if you're going first and you flip this on them, like Inferno must go in second, they're gonna have a very hard time getting everything out. Yes, there is still a combo they could do, but they're like this right here just completely shuts down a lot of decks. Even Unchained gets shut down by this deck. So I wouldn't be surprised if the ultra kind of starts to go up. So I guess a little bit of like investment review video. If you got the extra money, maybe you want to get a couple playsets, I wouldn't mind buying maybe 3 playsets of there can be only one ultra rare. Maybe even like get double up and get another 9 playsets of the super rare. I think there can be only one, and the next coming up meta is going to be extremely good. And the last card I want to talk about is Salamangreat of Fire. This card right here just blew me out of the freaking water. I did not know that it was going to be as crazy as it is. It had a small little dip down at 17, but now it's shot back up because of the ban list, because we're going to have access to Triple Gazelle. And to be honest, Triple Gazelle in a pure Salamangreat deck is just nothing but gas. So this is kind of crazy. Right now we're looking at Life Blade First Set for like $22.90, $22.99. I think it was going maybe like a little bit higher. Like a little bit earlier, but like to be honest, if you're right now, I have a copy of this card, and I'm kind of going back and forth whether I want to run the pure Salamangreat version or I want to run this other version that that I was working on. To be honest, I think the pure version is probably the better version because it has so much consistency, so many options. It does lock you into fire, but at the same time, there's so many good fire monsters in the Salamangreat archetype that it really doesn't matter. So if you pull this card randomly at a Soul Burning Volcano, and I look at that, it's $22. Soulburn Volcano is kind of seeing a little bit of a resurgence because, like, you know, the Salamangrites, you know, do seem like they're going to be a good contending, you know, like potential tier 1 deck, especially with all this that they have. Alright guys, that's it for the video. You know, to be honest, thank you very much to everyone who has been coming along, you know, for the ride. We're still trying to grind, getting to that point. Been doing YouTube for like pretty much like over a year now. I kind of looked at like everything, and like I think I'm over, either I'm very close or I'm over a year to me doing YouTube. But like everyone who has, you know, like who has been here, thank you very much. Like I said, I'm trying to get like a lot of cool stuff going. I guess I'll give a little spoilers of what I want to do. When I get to 500 subscribers, I'll mention this in another video. I do want to, I want to go to one of my locals, either Domino City Games or Game Corner, and I want to hold a sponsored tournament to where, you know, I'm probably gonna have some food there, and it's gonna be the regular pricing, but on top of the regular pricing, there'll be like extra pricing added on top. I'll be filming some videos, talking to like, you know, different people and locals, kind of like getting a whole feel for the thing. So once I get to 500 subscribers, I will throw that sponsored tournament. I'll probably try to, if not live stream, record the final duel, you know, to kind of put it out there. And I kind of want to make that a regular thing to where I'm kind of sponsoring tournaments to kind of like get like my own little, like, you know, like, I don't want to say I want to start my own meta, but I do want to kind of have like my own thing where like every once in a while I sponsor a tournament here and there, and then we kind of like, you know, just kind of, you know, get things going, get some good prizing for the players, and kind of get back to the community. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Hopefully, you know, if you like my ideas, you know, you'll subscribe down below. If not, just come on for the ride. I like the views. Peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.